13 years ago, James Cameron created Avatar, a film that defied all expectations and became a blockbuster whose records still remain unbroken. This year, after over a decade, its sequel has been released, continuing a story Jake and Neytiri had basically wrapped up all those years back. So why return, and what made the actors take up these roles again? Let's find out by talking about James Cameron's late but remarkable sequel. Starting with the vision behind the film, almost a decade ago when the first movie came out, Avatar became a huge success because of its story and because of the CGI-laid landscape that had never been done before. And with the film's success, there came an announcement of 4 sequels that would be released over time, each as grand and epic as the first. So when James Cameron was asked why it took so long to bring the first sequel to the screens, he had a very inspiring answer. According to him, when the first movie came out, the amount of money it made was enough that people started saying, "Oh, now that you've made it, make a sequel." But then he pointed towards some other classics that never had a sequel, including Spielberg's E.T., which was also a high grosser of its time. With that example, he said that it wasn't easy for lightning to strike again right at the same spot, and that his own film was a lot to live up to. So how did he get to the idea then? Well, he said he knew he had a great cast, a crew who'd worked super hard the first time, and a plot that he really thought could work. He also mentioned how all these people were ones who enjoyed the process of creation, and so to bring them back together, he had to suggest a sequel, which he did. Then, the moment the actors read the script, considering the perfectionist Cameron is, we understand why he wouldn't want to create a half-baked project that couldn't follow in the footsteps of its predecessor. So to create the new script, he sat down with his writers and said they wouldn't start writing until they realized what exactly worked the first time. In fact, they even had a whole script ready that took a year to write. But James trashed that because it didn't feel right enough. According to him, a film has 3 levels: surface, which defines the characters and their motives; thematic, which defines what a film is trying to say. But according to him, Avatar had a 3rd layer of subconsciousness, which didn't exist in the script they initially wrote. Turns out, he almost fired his writers because they didn't follow the vision he wanted them to, and instead wanted to create new stories. But James didn't want that. Instead, he wanted to build the plot on the same land he built Avatar, which he did. And when the script was ready, it reached the actors, Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana, who immediately signed up for action. Now let's talk about the actors' reactions to the script. Look, if a script makes you want to sign up for a film right away, it's obvious the reaction's good. But for Zoe and Sam, the reactions transcended the good and bad narrative. Both actors saw 2 different things in the script that made them want to sign up. For Sam, it was James' idea of taking the story further to them being warriors and fighting for their clans. For him, the family dynamic and how it was an extended idea of their love in the previous film is what mattered. And on the other hand, for Zoe, it was her relation to Neytiri. She says she found a kindred spirit in her because both of them were so alike. How they both took a leap of faith to find their love, how they were so attached to their kids, and how each of them was loyal to their own ideas and principles. But whatever they may have found in the script, one thing is for sure, it was profound enough for each of them, giving them enough reason to return to a chapter they'd once safely closed. Moving on, parenthood was a major part of the idea. According to Cameron, because all 3 of them are parents, they all related pretty well to the idea of parenthood in the film. He wanted to explore a world where Jake and Neytiri had a family of their own, and whom they wanted to protect. This is why they set off to bring them knowledge of the world around them, while also protecting them in the face of an upcoming battle. This is what makes them both warriors, and what brings their inner strength outside. Another main idea was focused on fear. As per the actors, when you become a parent, fear becomes second nature to you. The fear of losing something so special and close to you, the fear of not being enough for them, and that of not protecting them in the best way. James Cameron mentioned how he wanted to tap into that fear and explore how it changed the characters who had been so fearless and forward in the first film. Considering how Zoe had also seen the same idea in the script, guess their visions matched, and what came out is a great film based on family, love, and a world as beautiful as the last. Next, the return of Sigourney Weaver. Now, if you'll remember, Weaver's character died in the previous film, but James thought she was such a big part of the original movie, he had to bring her back. In the original film, her avatar was still alive, so he wanted to bring her back, but with a new mind that had graced his consciousness, and it happened with the baby with whom she was pregnant at the time. This led to the introduction of a new character, Kiri, Jake and Neytiri's adoptive daughter. He explained her character to be drenched in classic teenage awkwardness, who comes to her full element once she realizes her power and strength. With this character, he channeled his own daughter's experiences and their worldviews, how they perceive themselves, and grew into their own people, and how this character could do the same so they could speak to the teenage audience of the movie. Now that's a well thought out character. No wonder Weaver came back for the second time. Also, here are some other new characters, one of whom is the titular couple's own son, Natayam, played by Jamie Flatters of the School for Good and Evil fame. Then there are his siblings, Britton Dalton as Loak, and Trinity Jolie Bliss as Tuktiri Sully. They're joined by Jack Champion as Miles Spider Socorro, who is another one of Jake and Neytiri's adoptive children. Oh, he's fully human. Don't ask us the questions, guys. Watch the movie to find out how he adapts. Then, we have the Metcaina clan that's led by the matriarch, Rono, played by Kate Winslet. Then, we have Cliff Curtis as Tonawari, who had also starred in the other Avatar film, The Last Airbender. Yeah, that one. Then there are Bailey Bass and Philip Gelio as Syria and Anan. And finally, a character who doesn't have a voice but is equally significant, Peikan, a whale-like creature called the Tulkun. Sounds like a great cast, alright. And if you have a cast this big, filming probably becomes a big deal too. But apparently, James was totally involved in all aspects, making sure every detail and plot was connected and didn't miss out on any important info or fact about the people he himself had once created. Coming up, here's how James reacted to the finished film. Now, considering how involved James was in the entire film, we definitely want to know how he reacted to the finished product. And let us tell you, he was blown away. According to him, everybody's a mighty force in this film in their own ways, and he'd watched them through all the phases of filming, including pre- and post-visual effects. He also mentioned how he usually didn't try to watch finished products too often because it interferes with the process. But once he did see it, he felt pride beyond belief. And for him, it wasn't just the work of the actors that stood out, but also the work of the entire team who'd worked on the project tirelessly. Guess he's achieved the challenge he was looking for to portray and develop a world far beyond human imagination that's as detailed and beautiful as you can imagine. So when James Cameron says he was proud of seeing that world come to life, we believe him 100%. Also, what records can this film break? Now, considering how big the previous film was,
Pois we're right there. Ngal pelum malunga fitsi.
Wel bwts bi mi yang, ta cwrdd a wawmia da i.
Kotewe.
we definitely expect this one to break some records too. And if it does, he could be at par with Spielberg himself to have created 3 films that topped the box office, the other 2 being Titanic and Avatar. Of course, that largely depends on how big Avatar, The Way of Water grows. If it does follow the steps of its predecessor, James will obviously have another hit on his hands. But there's also the fact that such a long time has passed since the last film came out. People may not have the same connection to this one as the last. But considering how promising its opening numbers are being forecasted, the movie may just surpass expectations, exactly as its prequel did. And if that happens, James Cameron could find himself in the Spielberg Hall of Fame in no time. Finally, will there be an Avatar 3? We've already told you that the creators of the franchise did announce 4 sequels in it. So yes, there probably will be an Avatar 3. And considering how the film ended, a sequel exploring its characters is already shaping up. So the question you should be asking is, when will we get to see Avatar 3? And for that, you may have to wait some more because it all depends on how happy James Cameron is with his writers and how much of a perfectionist he decides to be when the time comes for the next movie. Till then, let's all dive deep into The Way of the Water. That's a wrap for this video. Have you watched Avatar 3 yet? What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.